Hey guys, so my summer camp was in New York City and we got to see John Proctor is the villain. And of course, I felt so conflicted by the end of it that I just had to make this video to share my thoughts. Here it is. Hey guys, so last night my camp went to see John Proctor is the villain. And I guess I just wanted to say what I thought about it, especially from my viewpoint as a Christian and also as a girl. So yeah. So basically, I already knew that the play was going to have a lot about feminism, and also obviously it's called John Proctor's the villain. So kind of suspected that their character that portrayed John Proctor or represented John Proctor was going to be the villain in the end. That was already there in the story. I know a few people who didn't quite get it at the beginning, and it's obvious, like some people, it takes a while, it doesn't come as quickly to others until one specific moment of the play where you realize, oh, this guy is the main one that's causing trouble. He is the villain of the story. So all in all, I loved it. The play was so good and eye-opening, and when you walk out of a play and you have a certain emotion, well, let me say, when you walk out of a play and you go in with a certain belief and you come out with another, then I think that play is very strong, and it did what it needed to do, and it did what a play should do, which is put you in a feeling or give you a certain feeling that changes your life. And that's what most writers, actors, directors, they want to do when they present a play. So all in all, the play, the set, everything was amazing. I cannot deny that. The acting was incredible. Sadie Sink was, I have no words. I literally have no words. She's so awesome. And oh my gosh, we got to do a talk with the actors after the show, and they got to answer some questions for us, and it was awesome. Just sitting right behind them, or right in front of them, I should say. Me and one of my other friends, we were literally in the front row, so we got to see all of them. And they even had the understudies come out, but you know, like, they're still actors, and like, they're still important to the show. Some of the stage managers and the tech crew, and it was just so amazing to see all these people that literally brought the show to life. So now my beliefs based on the play, and because I read The Crucible last year, 8th grade, sorry, 10th grade. I read The Crucible in 10th grade year with my English teacher, and it's so fun reading that last year and then coming to see this play, because I think it changes a lot about how I viewed John Proctor, but also how I viewed Abigail and a lot of the other girls and the situation that they were in. So mainly, I still hold, okay, why do I say this? In the context, the play basically calls John Proctor a villain, which personally I don't think is true. It also makes Abigail look like a victim, or the main victim, which I also don't think is true. Yes, she can be a victim, but so are a lot of the people in the town, because she was spreading lies, which I should say she took way too far, and all just to get a guy she was in love with. Now, I will say that guy and her, a 16-year-old girl who was so sure that this guy was attracted to her, they, of course, had sex. So coming out from that, and she most likely lost her virginity. So coming out of that, her thinking that this guy is going to keep loving her and keep caring for her is completely natural, especially for a girl. Like that moment, it means a lot to most girls. Now I can't say those anything to those who offer it. Yeah, never mind. Anyway, where was I? That moment is special, and the fact that John Proctor basically, when she ignores her, tells her, "Oh, you're a whore," essentially, tells her, "Forget about it. It didn't mean anything." No, no, no. That was the real breaking point of where we realized, oh, this guy doesn't care at all. He sees it as a mistake, which morally, yes, it would be. He cheated on his wife. He had an affair with another girl. And that girl was 16 years old, might I say. So yes, morally, he realizes that he made a deep, grave mistake in the stakes of the show and the stakes of his marriage and his own pride and honor. So yes, he feels remorse about that. But he never apologizes to Abigail for basically taking away her pride and her honor and embarrassing her. She openly says how much she loves him and wants him. But time and time again, he keeps embarrassing her, and that's what keeps driving her to keep lying the entire play. And so I think as a girl, I truly do think that that is what drives the emotional aspect of Abigail, and the fact that she really just wanted revenge for that embarrassment. She wanted this guy all to herself, which in the end basically drove her to accusing his wife of being a witch. And that's what really started all of this. That's why I think, and what I learned, why she went dancing in the woods with Tituba. Because she wanted to create some kind of witchcraft to somehow damage their marriage or get rid of Elizabeth Proctor, something like that. And so did some of the other girls as well. They wanted they had their own reasons for going and dancing in the forest. I don't think it was just about freedom or violence or anything, because they were practicing witchcraft in the forest. And usually with witchcraft, you have certain reasons for practicing it. And so these girls, not knowing exactly what they were doing, got into it. And then later, when they were found out, they had to make up a story. So, witches. Why not? Everybody was scared of them back then, and it seemed like the logical answer. But back to the moral aspect of Abigail, I think she took it way too far, way too fast. Because in the beginning of the play, when the girls were all like, let's come clean, she was like, no, I saw my parents die in the forest. I saw their heads get chopped off, and you know I can do it to you too. Who in the world says that? You could say it any other way. I know that she was panicked, and probably her uncle's legacy and reputation was probably on the line. But girl, speaking to another girl, chill out. Honestly, I would not go to the degree that she did to get this guy back on her side. And I don't think that any girl ever should, because a lot of people ended up getting killed because of a story she made up just so she and her friends wouldn't get found out. And especially so her and her friends, or her specifically, wouldn't get found out about the affair with John Proctor, which she could have easily just told anybody anyway. I think it was the part where she didn't want to feel the embarrassment from anybody else, or let anybody else know that she was rejected by him even after all of that, that drove her into the lying. So that's my take on the moral aspect. And one of the actors, when we were answering questions and everything, said something really important, and I think that everybody should hear this. There is no right and wrong in this play. Both John Proctor and oh my gosh, Abigail are both wrong. They're both basically evil in this play. Even the self-proclaimed pastor of the town has his wrongs, deep wrongs. And I think that it's important to recognize that, because in the sinful world, this is my Christian aspect, Christian view of this, in this world of sinful people, there can be some really good people in this world, like how most people view John Proctor. But one thing that actor said was that there are really good people in this world, but they can still do very wrong things. Just like Mr. Smith in John Proctor as the villain. He was a really good teacher, and he cared for his students, and they recognized that. But when they found out about what he did with Shelby, and ultimately with other girls, sorry for spoilers if anybody wants to go and see it, but when they found out what he did with Shelby, they all realized, oh, this guy actually has a lot of wrong in him as well. They held him to such a high esteem that they didn't think that he could get lower on the bar, which brings in that Christian point of view as well. Only God is the highest, really. He's the only sinful person on this world, and you can't hold anybody to such a high regard as saying that they can do no wrong, because then you're basically calling them a god, and they're not. And the only sinful person who has ever walked this earth is Jesus. So really, the students themselves, mainly girls, might I say, which is also pretty, well, okay, I wouldn't say just the girls, but they did have a whole entire scene where they were talking about how attractive he looks and how good he was of a teacher, how supportive he was of their feminist club. So yeah, mainly the girls held him to such a high bar that they did not think that he could get any lower on that bar. And so you really can't do that with any person, especially now in the world that we live in, where there is zero to no true peace. Because everybody has different beliefs and different systems, so and we're all different individuals with different situations and backstories. Excuse me. So I think that is my take on it. Oh, I also wanted to say, in terms of Abigail and John both being wrong, Abigail, in the lying process, I think she says, oh, I don't have the book in front of me, but I think she keeps on saying a few times how good of a Christian she is and how she did no wrong. But in the end, nobody really calls back to that when John brings up the affair, because Abigail, it was a consensual process. So they're both in the wrong with the affair and Abigail having premarital sex. So, and while John admits that what he did was wrong, Abigail still hung on the fact that a guy she likes basically rejected her and embarrassed her, which is still pretty powerful, but as a Christian, I think that we should always put God first, and his word and his commands, and so asking for forgiveness from him first, and then you can still hold on to that emotion of embarrassment and shame even, and still like the guy, but still respect the fact that he admits that he made a mistake in terms of his beliefs and his morality and his honor. And so did, and oh my gosh, I keep forgetting this girl's name. And so did Abigail, except she didn't apologize for anything either. Even people in the play afterwards were like, oh, John Proctor didn't apologize really for even like basically taking away her shame, her pride and her honor. But at the same time, at the end of the play, Abigail runs like a coward. She literally takes off on a train after all the trouble she caused and the people that were killed because of her, and doesn't apologize or admit that she did something wrong. So while there is a point at the beginning where all of this was, what's the word I'm looking for? A point where all this started and a reason why this started, you really can't say John Proctor is the villain of the story when everybody in itself in the play is a villain altogether. It's even the judges, the townspeople who used the girls to settle their disputes. And even then Abigail, sorry, I'm getting off track, but even then Abigail didn't come clean when she realized, oh, you guys are basically using me, just like John did. I'm not going to stand for this. And you want to talk about feminism in the play, but Abigail really didn't stand up for herself either by even telling anybody about this affair. I guarantee you, I can see why women back then were not held to such a high regard. And she probably, like in the John Proctor's villain play, Shelby says nobody would listen to me, so I had to become the villain. I had to become louder for people to actually hear me. And I think that speaks to Abigail's point of view a lot. But Abigail, in the play itself, never tries to tell anybody, never tries, didn't say never did, but never tries to tell anybody about what happened or possibly what was happening. How do we know that more girls weren't getting sexually assaulted or weren't going out there and basically giving themselves up to any other guy they found attractive? So really, she could have done a lot more. I think being scared that nobody would listen stopped her, but the fact that she didn't even try really speaks a lot more volumes to the fact that nobody would listen. In John Proctor as a villain, it's totally believable, where Shelby is literally like, nobody would listen to me. Everybody thought that I was some person that I have been grown out of. And I'm smart, and I can do all of this and that. And Mr. Smith told me all of that. And that's why I felt drawn to him. But in the end, she was like, nobody would have listened anyway. And I had to become this person so that I had to become crazy, essentially. No offense to any other women out there. I'm just stating what she did, what she said. I had to become basically crazy, like everybody was calling me, in order to be heard. And that speaks to our world today and our opinions socially, where a lot of times people have to kick and scream and fight just to be heard, especially with what's going on in lots of cities these days, where people are rioting and starting protests. And that's where that comes from. In order to be heard, you have to make yourself louder or make yourself better in terms of getting high up on the social pyramid, or you have to make yourself badder, which is you literally have to do bad things in order to be held in a court or be listened to by a therapist or even get any kind of attention at all. So I can, yeah. In the Crucible, differentiating the Crucible from this play is so important because in this play, Abigail is well, I won't say absolutely because they said there was no proof, although clearly Abigail / Shelby is the victim and John Proctor is the villain. And Mr. Smith, the teacher, is definitely the villain. However, in the Crucible, I don't think that you can name a hero, villain, they're all bad. There is no good. And in that moment at the end of the Crucible where John Proctor is like, it's my name, it's my honor, and I don't want to sign this paper because then that ruins my honor. Well, what about Abigail's honor? What about her name? What about her pride? You don't want to be embarrassed. But what about her? She would rather die or run away than let you go because of what you did and what you both did. There's no talk at the end of him basically comforting his wife, discussing what they're going to do with their new baby. Everybody's bad in their own way, and you really cannot distinguish a hero from a villain in the Crucible because of that. But as a Christian, I believe all of us are sinful, and we can have good intentions with some things, and we can make good decisions and be a really awesome person, like me. Well, okay. Like me in my own opinion and based on my family and friends. But those who know me, know what I've gone through. They know that I've done bad things, just like anybody in this world has. They know I'm not perfect. So really, we're all the villains in this story. But we're all also victims as well. Victims of sin and death and sorrow. And so, you really can't put a label on it. At least I don't think so. So, yeah. That's what I think of John Proctor as the villain and what they said about the Crucible in that play. Now, I got the script for it, obviously, as you've seen like 4 times already. And my gosh, they've got some points in there that will really, oh my gosh, me and my friend in the back of the theater, the very back, might I say, of the booth theater, we were literally on the edge of our seats. We were screaming, we were clapping at sometimes, getting ready to dance. Gosh, and when I walked out and the play ended, I was so conflicted with my opinion. I knew how I had originally felt because of class in school and originally reading The Crucible. But gosh, feeling so conflicted about exactly who John Proctor and Abigail are is so important, because in the context of the play and in the context of the period that it's in, I think that we all need to take a step back and realize that there's more to this than everybody thinks. It's definitely not all about feminism. And I think at the end of the play, even they realize that it's not all about feminism. And that's more or less about support and care and realizing that there's more going on in somebody's life and you can't put a label on them because you can't see it all, good or bad. And that changes their whole entire viewpoint. Even one of the guys literally stood up at the end of the play, was like, hey, I'm gonna dance with you guys because I believe everything you're saying, and I believe in your cause of care and support and a good nature. And so, yeah, I think I just needed to get all of that out. I was thinking about it all night, and yeah, it's definitely a lot to unpack, but I think I did a pretty good job with it based on my viewpoint of this world, and also as a Christian and as a girl, first of all. Christian first of all, girl second, and also as an African American girl, who literally has heard people be like, oh, Tituba's the real villain of the play. No, she was a slave, guys. Come on. She was a slave. Abigail probably even forced her to do witchcraft in the middle of the forest. And even if she didn't, Abigail had no business doing that anyway. Abigail actually in the play, Tituba actually in the play says, the girl came up to me. She asked me to do witchcraft. And Tituba, probably not wanting to get in trouble with her boss, was like, oh, I can't. But no, Abigail was her master's niece. So, probably no choice in the matter. That's all I have to say about that. It was a dark time, and gosh, like I said, there's just a lot to unpack. And in the end, I think I did a pretty good job nailing it down. I just need to get all of that stuff out, how I felt about it, because but like I said, John Proctor is the villain. It's an awesome play. Sadie Sink did a great job, as well as all of the other actors and actresses. They did incredible, and I literally cannot deny it, even when everything got so intense in moments. They did such a great job with it, and it just puts you in a really uncomfortable spot. And even in moments of awesomeness and celebration, it puts you in an uncomfortable spot. It makes you feel so like you're trying to wrap your head around things. Like, how does this affect how I think of men now? At the same time, this is a different day and age. But based on my beliefs and what I know, it really hasn't changed. I've never been so invested in something, or I've never been so invested in someone that I would hold them as high as someone sinless, or doesn't have cracks in the wall, or anything like that. So if somebody makes a mistake, like God says to do, forgive them. Hiccups. Like God and Jesus said to do, forgive them. And that's the best thing that we can do. We may never understand somebody's circumstances or why they did something. We just might know the what. But Jesus also says, do not be quick to judge anybody. And I think that's what our world has a mad problem with now. We are so all quick to judge when we really don't have a right to. People are hypocrites. They do things wrong, but then they turn around and point fingers at somebody who is just like them and is in the same situation. Like this whole immigrant thing that we've got going on now. Our country was founded by immigrants. Our country was built by immigrants who came from Europe, and not only that, deported slaves, immigrants, to come and work on their farms, and to come and work in factories and in plantations and build buildings. So I don't understand what the problem is now, when there was no legal or illegal back then. Plus, we are all illegal, technically, in the kingdom of heaven. We're all not even supposed to be able to set foot in there. So, I guess what I'm saying is, if Jesus can't accept us, even though we've done bad things, if we ultimately ask him to save us, which is what majority of these immigrants out here are asking us to do. They come to this country expecting to be saved, expecting to be in the land of the free, for opportunity, for jobs, for things that they actually want but can't do in their own countries. And the government makes it impossible for them to actually be able to do that because the system is rigged. So if Jesus can accept us into the kingdom of heaven when we've done so many bad things and act like good people, then why can't we? And I think that, yeah. So yeah, that basically wraps it up. That was my take on John Proctor is the Villain by Kimberly Bellflower with Sadie Sink at my acting camp at NSLC. Yeah, it was pretty good. It makes me kind of want to scream now. If you haven't seen the play, you want to get that reference. But thank you so much for listening. And honestly, I kind of want to do more of these things. I'm a writer myself, so reflecting on books, plays, and other things that get me, I don't know, I feel a pull towards. I think it would be really interesting to do that. So let me know and I'll keep doing it. I'm actually at a dorm room right now in Columbia University. So yeah, and we're going to go see Hadestown next, so I might do a review of that because Hadestown is literally my favorite play other than Hamilton. Oh, maybe Beetlejuice too. But Hadestown is still good. I've never seen it before. My acting team went and I didn't get to go. My mom knows why. She forgot to hit the buy button on those tickets. Thanks, Mom. But now we're going and we get to sit in orchestra. So let's go. I will get back with you guys later, and God bless you.